Welcome to the Millennial and a Boomer Walk into a Coffee Bar podcast.
The very best podcast to get your life advice in the form of a Grande Caramel Macchiato in a venti cup, one third whole milk, one third almond milk, one third soy milk, double the amount of vanilla syrup, caramel wall in the cup, no caramel drizzle on top, upside down, of course, tall ice cup, whipped cream, rounded lid, one shot extra espresso, decaf, cinnamon sprinkled on the top, and for the name, that's David, spelled Dafydd, please.
Or to get your business, finance, and life support black coffee advice, I'm Dan, I'm a Boomer.
And I'm Chase, the Millennial. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, Chase. We're back at it again. I'm Dan, by the way, and I happen to be a Boomer and proud of it.
And I'm the Millennial, as you just heard. Super excited to be back. It's been a couple weeks since we've recorded one of these. If you remember that at the last time that we recorded, I was having a Texas-sized allergy attack, and I sneezed about 482 times. So thank you to the editor for cutting all that out.
I do remember that, and in fact, my wife went and bought some honey that was local honey because apparently the bees are attracted with the pollen and all the things that make you have allergies. So it builds up an immunity. You should learn from your mom, my wife, right?
Whoa! This is a family podcast. No birds and the bees conversations on this.
Yeah. No, good. I'm once again excited. We've actually started talking about businesses and business goals, business aspects, and today we're going to jump right into what is important when you're looking for a job. What should people look for when they want to pursue a job? And I'll start there by saying a job. And I think you have something to say a little bit about a job versus career.
Wow. There are two different things in life. One is a job,
Yep.
and that is not the same as a career. These two things are not equal.
Right.
That would be the equal sign with the line through it. Not equal. And I think that it's important for people to understand that a job simply provides money.
Yes. I think a job, if you want a job, go make money.
I think of, like, right now, my niece, your granddaughter, has a job while she's in college. I think it's aligned to the other item, her career. So she's getting good experience, but ultimately what she needs right now, she needs money for college.
Exactly. It just so happens to be a big differentiator between a job and career can be fulfillment. You can still make money at a career. You can still not make money at a career. But if you want just a job, go make the amount of money that you can, like to provide, like details for school. Or I think you had a pretty good example of a job that you kind of all of a sudden inherited and went after it.
Yeah, so let me lay the groundwork. There I was, just living my life in my education career, and my wife told me one night, it was probably 3 in the morning, and she leaned over and she hit me. So why you hit me? She goes, "We're pregnant." Oh, uh, okay. So we now have number 3 on the way. Uh, and because of that, we went out and purchased a new car because with 3, you can't really fit 3 car seats side by side. So we went out and bought really a small SUV that had a third row.
Yep.
And it was nothing special. It was actually a 3-year-old model that was still brand new on the showroom. They were just trying to get rid of them. We got a killer deal.
Sorry to interrupt, but we should go into some of that spending and purchases would be another good podcast. Maybe not so much on the business side, but on the personal accountability and accounting side of things. Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. So we went out and bought a new car, and we live in Texas. It was summer, and it just so happened that at the same time, I mean, all within probably 30 days of each other, all these things happened, maybe 60 days, our AC unit went out.
In Texas.
And in Texas, I mean, you people die when their AC goes out in Texas. It's hot.
Yeah.
And so you have to get it fixed. Well, I didn't. I could have afforded to have a third kid. I could have afforded buying a new car. or I could have afforded to get a new AC unit, but I could not afford to do all three at once.
And when it's 112 at 10 p.m. in Dallas, Texas, guess which one bubbles to the top?
There was no question which one bubbled to the top. So I had a problem. My problem was I needed money and I needed it soon. I had to pay one of these things off. Well, 18 years for a kid is a long time. So that's not the one that I'm going to pay off. So my next option was, what's the cheapest of the next two? The air conditioner.
Right.
So I went out and got a job. Now I already had a career, but I added to that a job. And I started driving my wife's brand new SUV as an Uber driver.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, what did you need at that time in your life when you were looking for a job? Money.
Money.
And that fulfilled your money. The thing is, you just spent 8, 10, 12 hours a day working your career, and then you converted immediately on to occasionally not even getting dinner to go jump in and start your job, which was to pay off your air conditioner, in essence, is exactly what it was. Now, a lot of people would go in debt for a car. Nothing wrong with that if you have to have a car and transportation. A lot of people would go and buy on credit the air conditioner. Nothing wrong with that when you have to have that. And a pregnant wife made sure that you knew that. Um, and then to go ahead and just stay in debt for that and say, wow, my situation has changed and I'm not bringing in any more money. You better consider a job. So that kind of touches the first thing. A job provides money, and a career, in essence, provides a lot more than just money. And I would say it this way, a career provides fulfillment.
Yeah. It is good to like your employment. What's the problem? Most people
Tolerate it. They just, oh, this is my lot in life, and I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. I'm making good money, but it's ho hum do-drum type of business that I'm into, and they just kind of tolerate it. I'll tell you, you don't need to just tolerate it. And I think one of the good things you should do in a career, and not necessarily in a job, but in a career, is make a list and put on one side the things that I really, really like, that I provide that fulfillment, and on the other side, a list of things that I either tolerate or are unreasonable or unbearable, and make those lists and look at those two lists side by side and saying, is this the career I really want to be into?
So, for those of you who are the millennial listeners, it's just like in Boy Meets World when Corey was making a list of Topanga or the ski lodge chick. Obviously, in this scenario, Topanga would be your career and the ski lodge chick would be your job. Topanga!
Okay, I'll learn from that. Okay.
Doesn't mean much to the boomers, but
No, it doesn't. But I tell you, even if you see things on the ski chick list side, change them. Do something about them. You do not need to tolerate your career. You don't need to settle. You have the opportunity to fix or blend or shape or find another career with that type of thing. So don't settle. It could provide risk if you needed to go out and move along to another type of career or anything else. But we talked about having purpose in your career and purpose in your job progression. Have purpose in your existence with your life goals in your job, in your career. You really need to like it.
and I think if we could distill all of this down to one phrase, it's you are in control.
Yeah.
You're in control. If you don't like it, change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple.
So then the second thing that I kind of noted, Chase, and I'd like your thoughts on this because I know this is a big, big thing with millennials. And it was a big, big thing with boomers as I was going through high school and college. College, a trade, a family business, entrepreneur. Well, we've got entrepreneur right here in front of me, and entertainment. So tell me what you think right now, because in my day and age as a boomer, son, where are you going to go to college when you graduate from high school? You never said, I'm not going to college. But I tell you, that's a real choice now, a real choice.
It really is. In fact, we're building a school here in Dallas Fort Worth on the first skin ed side. And one of the things that we're really pushing is for students to get college credit while they're in high school.
Yes.
So either through dual credit or AP classes. And that we are encouraging them not to pick the 4-year college that costs 60, 70, $80,000 a semester, but instead, how do we get you directly into the workforce and doing community colleges or local schools where you can still live at home or somewhere relatively cheap and get your education and your business simultaneously? Because you can do that for a tenth of the cost of picking one of these big schools where, well, I'm going to miss out on all these opportunities. You can still go to the football games.
Yep.
I went to college. They didn't even have a football program. They barely had a basketball program. And you know what? I survived.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because we don't get paid by sponsors here. But First in Education has got kind of a business model where you guys are wanting to invest in schools with the students in mind. And you can put a plug in for your business and everything else. But you're right. You absolutely are. My granddaughter, Scout, um, she actually is finishing her freshman year and she's well into a sophomore in her credits because she did a lot of school credits, college level credits in high school. So there's a good way to do that. I know junior colleges. We haven't talked much about JCs, but what's your thought on junior colleges? I know tuitions at a major university are, oh my goodness, expensive. What about junior?
Yeah, I think junior college is a great opportunity that people should really seriously consider because you're still going to get a great education, but junior colleges really focus on the degree pathways that lead to paying careers. You're not going to go get, some undergrad in something that there are no jobs available.
Right. Or low paying jobs.
Yeah, you're going to get $200,000 in debt for a job that pays $30,000 a year. Like that's a bad investment of your time and your money. It just doesn't pay it off.
Right.
So junior colleges are a great alternative.
It's probably, I'll bring it up here too, this college loan forgiveness program. Don't count on that. That's not going to be around. If you sign up for a loan for college, I paid on my college loans for 7.5 years. 7.5 years I paid for my college. Would I have liked to have forgiveness? Absolutely. I'd like to have forgiveness on a mortgage. I'd like to have forgiveness on a car loan. I'd like to have forgiveness on many of the things that I've purchased. Don't count on that. But you can actually manage your career by managing your education. And that education doesn't necessarily need to be college. It doesn't need to be junior college. There's other options that are out there that I think we're in need of as a society.
Look at some of the trades. If you consider the fact that you can get a paid apprenticeship for HVAC or plumbing or some of these other things, you get paid to learn how to do it. And then if you go work for someone else, you're making $80,000 plus. If you take the skills that you do there and you invest another 2 years to work for them afterwards, you can go launch your own company and make six figures by the time that your peers are just finishing college, $200,000 in debt. You're now making $100,000 and you've got a great career ahead of you.
Exactly. And it's amazing to me. These guys are really talented in some of these trades that they're into. I took my car to the auto body shop the other day, and this guy was brilliant. I mean, I think I'm a good backyard mechanic. I can run with the best of them, kind of. I can take things apart really, really well. It's putting them back together that's a challenge. But this guy, he said, no, I'll just do this and I'll just do that, and then I can do this, and he logically laid out, if it's not this, it's this. If it's not that, it's that. And I thought, man, this guy is really skilled. And he was had worked as an apprentice, if you will, in this business, and was right there. And I've read that he's making, people like that make well over $100,000 a year. So the trades are really good. Let me tell you a little bit about family business too. My father was a fruit farmer. growing up, and actually he was bought it later in life, but he ran a family business that produced the best uh, peaches in the world. I would put them up against anybody. And his orchards were fabulous. They had rows and they had everything, and he went and just did it right. Well, then he got old and he couldn't work it, and he eventually passed away. My brother, take this, a guy from Washington, D.C., that's a lawyer that doesn't know anything about a farm or farmers. He had never driven the tractor. Now, you growing up on my dad's farm, you spent a lot of time on the tractor.
Hours on that tractor.
And I remember him saying to the family, "Hey, I want to buy it." And I was the representative for the family because I wanted the best money out of you know, the sale of the property, but I wanted to cut my brother a break. He is running this family business, still being a part-time lawyer, and I'll say a full-time, part-time farmer, and loving it. It is unbelievable. His eyes light up. He's so proud of that. He actually bought a second tractor after he got one stuck, but he has done miraculous things in running the business. I think if he had to do it all over again, and he's done very, very well with his legal career. He started his own law firm. He would be a farmer if he had it all to do again. I really think he would be a farmer. So, trade workers, farmers. Um, there's other options out there for a career. Don't ever think you just need to go do a college, and that's what it was. When I was younger, that's kind of how it was. Hey, what college should you apply for, and where you go?
Yeah, there was not a discussion. It's not are you, it's where are you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know you know this probably because I'm sure talked about it over the last couple of years. But Fersken Ed it's a Danish word, Fersken, and then education. Fersken is the Danish word for peach.
Yes.
And as a Dane, and as someone who grew up on the peach orchard, that's ultimately what I named my business as kind of a throwback. I learned the value of hard work on that peach farm. I learned that when you're tired, you don't stop. You stop when the job is done.
Yeah.
And usually it was more colorfully laid out to me than that. But yeah, no, it's a great. And I'm with you on the peaches. I'll put that up against a Georgia
Yep.
peach any day of the week.
Oh yeah, Georgia, but Georgia,
I know.
just a wonderful thing. So then the other thing that I kind of wanted to touch on, and I think we're probably going to kind of wrap up this, and we'll have to make this into 2 episodes. But young people, I was reading an article and I was really surprised when they said what's important to a young person throughout their educational years and when they start their career or even a job. And you know what the number one response was? Famous. They want to be famous. I'd love to be famous, but famous never bought me a cup of coffee, whether I ordered it black and or with fruit juice like the millennials do these days. But I'll tell you, to be famous is not an aspiration that is good when you're working on a career or even for that matter, a job. Thoughts on that?
It's tricky. I do think it's tricky because what happens when boomer and a millennial walk into a coffee bar, blows up, and we're famous? I mean, then it's going to be a completely different conversation.
Let me look at the balance sheet. Last time I saw, yeah, that guy that audits this and edits this and does that and everything, and the equipment and everything. We're still in the black, well over $1,000.
I think you mean red. We're definitely in the red on this deal.
Oh, in the red, that's true.
Here's the problem: is they see Dude Perfect, they see Mark Rober, they see whoever else the other YouTubers are, and they say, "I want to be like that guy." But what they don't realize is for every one Dude Perfect, there are millions of people with YouTube channels that get less than 1,000 views per video. And so it's entertainment is great, right? I don't want to say if you have some great idea not to try it.
Yeah.
But I do want to say you've got to really think long and hard because the risk is huge on something like that.
Yeah.
It also goes back to my kids. What do my kids always say they want to be, my boys?
Hey, Grandpa, I'm going to be an NHL hockey player.
Look, I played hockey. I'm halfway decent, or at least I was back in my prime. I didn't make anything even close to that.
Right.
And I'm sure they're better than me, and I'm gonna do everything I can to help them be the best little hockey players they can be. It's very unlikely that they'll be NHL level because there are just so few people that get to that level.
Exactly. They're talented kids. They really are, and they play hockey well. They've been on some good programs. But I'll tell you, the probability of them making the NHL and even making the step, from high school to the collegiate level. So there's a lot of people out there. They want to be educators. They want to be, entertainers. And entertainers are these social influencers. Um, and if you think we're going to make money on a podcast as we, get sponsors and sell swag and sell coffee cups and all that stuff, you got to be kidding, son. This is another, put your feet on the ground like a boomer because we can't jump.
Look, we don't need to make a lot of money. We just need enough money to buy a cup of coffee to drink while we're talking.
That's all we need. That's all we need.
So if you'd like to sponsor us, go ahead and call 1-800-SPONSOR. Bam.
Yeah, just send your non-tax donatable. No, and it's just interesting. I guess if I were to kind of wrap this up a little bit, is your standard of living is important, but make your career choices aligned with your standard of living, and challenge that a little bit. If you need to get a job to supplement, you can do that, but just make sure that it all fits together and be happy. You don't need to be in a bad kick in the can down the street every time you go to work. Do something about it and really enjoy it.
So this was part one. Part two, we're going to cover money in your career or job. We're going to cover providing for your family, for yourself, for your, all these things. And then we're going to talk about stability and growth. So make sure that you tune in next time as we kind of finish part two of this podcast. And don't forget that just because it's different
doesn't mean it's wrong.